Starting your own practice is hard for many chiropractors. It's riddled with both struggles and successes. But here at the Chiropractic Philanthropist, we make it easy by having chiropreneurs and entrepreneurs share their struggles and lessons learned in life and business so that you don't have to make the same mistakes. And now here's your host, Dr. Ed Osborne.
All right, TCP listeners, we have incredible guests today, and that is actually Doctors Stu and Terry Warner. Doctors Warner, how are you doing this morning?
Hey, great, Ed.
Fantastic. Pleasure to be with you.
I got to tell you, I mean, this has been going on, like this conversation of finally getting our schedules coincided so we could do this interview has probably been about 3 to 6 months, this conversation. So I'm excited we finally made this happen. But you know what I'm more excited about? Because I'm not going to even introduce you because I'm going to assume everyone knows who you are. So listeners, if you don't know who the Warners are, which you're not under a rock somewhere, then what you need to do is actually go to our previous interview on TCP, and I'm going to refer you there so you can go listen there. So the discussion today is about the kid-driven chiropractic pediatrics practice. So tell us a little bit more about like your practice specifically, folks, but also like how you have made this into like a true system that's actually saving lives in communities.
Yes, we started practice 25 years ago. No one identified themselves as a pediatric chiropractor. There wasn't any social media. Actually, chiropractors shied away from it because of the negativity in the media, and it wasn't accepted. So we were known as pediatric chiropractors before there were pediatric chiropractors. And we set up a whole practice so everyone in our town knew that we helped children, and we focused on it. And Dr. Larry Webster, who's known as the grandfather of chiropractic pediatrics, was our friend and mentor in school, and he inspired us. And we started in our school days at Life, seeing children, and just broke new boundaries and ground out there by attracting the child as the first patient in the family. And then we developed all sorts of programs to teach other chiropractors to do the same in their practice in their community.
And so,
yeah, we were always super excited about that. And I have my own chiropractic pediatric testimonial from when I was a kid, and grew up with my mom always teaching kids and having a part in that. And so it was just a natural extension of what we wanted to do and get that word out and help as many kids as we can.
Yeah, I know. Like, well, my wife and I, like, growing up as from baby chiropractors to where we are today. I mean, we were truly inspired by both of you and what you had. The message of seeing kids, and that was the reason we started a family pediatric practice, was because partly of what you had, gone ahead before us and many other chiropractors and done for our profession. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Ed. That's awesome.
That.
We love to hear that. You're aging me a little, though. I'm not liking that part, so be careful. But
we started school. We started school late. So, okay. So tell me, like, okay, if I'm like one of those docs who's maybe 0 to 5 out, and I really want to dive into the pediatric practice. I really want to make this a kid-driven practice. What's the first thing I need to do?
Well, we've been asked to do this for a long time, to put together all of our strategies and systems so that you can help as many kids in your practice as you can, because they need it now more than any other time in history. This is the sickest generation in the history of the world, and chiropractors should not be the best kept secret in the world. So the number one thing that we have to develop first is that mindset and that purpose and that burning desire, that conviction to want to help as many children as you can. But you need to be able to learn how to develop that into a health brand, because our major emphasis of what we do in our community, and we've been teaching chiropractors all over the world, is to be that go-to health authority in your community. Who can impact people's lives and families' lives more than the chiropractor? I mean, if you're adjusting people in your practice, you're seeing the success stories, you're seeing the miracles. So who else can provide that type of impact in the community. You know, you should be the most important person in the community as the chiropractor, and you should be the highest priced doctor or health provider in your community for the value that you offer. You should be paid more than the dentist and the pediatrician and the family doctor, because what you do is more important. How much value is there in correcting a subluxation in a child, to have that life expression be released, to have that child achieve their optimum genetic potential in every level of existence? So there's a tremendous value there, and we teach all of our clients to be able to communicate that effectively so that your patients come in and they trust you, they commit to care. You know, all the systems and procedures are congruent with that. And, you know, so we developed some really unique, signature, really revolutionary systems and procedures in the practice, so the chiropractor can attract 50 to 100 new kids into their practice every month, have them committed to lifetime care, and be the highest priced provider in their community and have people thank you for it.
Dr. Terry, is this what you mean when both you yourself and Stu talk about like building your practice from the inside out?
Yeah, for sure. You know, the whole idea is behind, it's a lot more work to get one new patient than it is to have a great current patient refer in all of their friends and families and have that trickle down into one patient becoming 5, 10, or 20 patients. And so that's when we talk about growing the practice from the inside out. It streamlines the practice. It makes it simple and easy and a natural extension of what we do. We educate properly one patient, anchor them to the chiropractic message, and that one patient then becomes a whole office full, a waiting list practice of patients waiting to come in your door. And so, you know, I think that for sure is something that, you know, that we do and that we really help other docs to create that practice growing from the inside out. It really makes practice fun and easy. And Ed, I have to, you know, just jump in too, when you said, you know, especially for those docs that are a little newer in practice, I know that some of you are really geared up and want to see kids and are boldly going out into your community wanting to do that, maybe knowing how or not quite knowing how, but some of you want to do it but are afraid to do it. Mm-hmm. And so when you said, you know, what's the message for them? You know, one thing that really popped into my head right away is have no fear, because this is something that is so important to be able to do. And what we want to do is, you know, visit practices that are doing it, have mentors that are doing it, link up with people like us who are doing it that can show you how to do this with great systems and strategies and make it easy and fun and fearless and really living your dream.
Yeah, to piggyback on that, a lot of chiropractors have a passion for kids. They talk about seeing kids, but their practice is only 10% kids, or they don't have a few kids here or there. So to really strive for a practice of 50 to 100% kids makes the practice very joyful, and you look forward to going into your practice every day, and the families are there for the right reasons. You're having a big impact, and you're able to, earn profit more than in an adult-centered practice, because parents are more committed to their children's health, and they'll pay more for it than they will their own. You just have to be able to position yourself in your practice, in your community, so parents happily pay for their kids' care and thank you for it as well.
Do you find that, with today, with the challenges that we're seeing with kids with attention challenges, what is the stat now? Like 1 in 70 kids are, like diagnosed with autism. Is it important as a chiropractor who wants to build a family pediatric practice to target kids and families who are having these types of challenges? Or is it better for us to just really focus on the overall wellness of the child and the family?
I think it's important that we reach out to all children. It certainly is an incredible benefit for those families who have children who are on the spectrum, who are special needs, who have faced all these health challenges. But there are so many kids, and when we look at the stats, we don't only want to, be singling them out as yet another symptom that we're chasing, but we look at kids, every other kid's carrying an inhaler, carrying medication. They're at the nurse's office. They've got 504 plans. It's crazy. It's just, look at kids being prescribed psychotropic medication and opioids and all these crazy things that are leading them down a pathway of destruction. And so we want to make sure we're getting that message out to every mom, to every parent, so that they know, regardless of which one of the spectrum of symptoms their child is being bombarded with, that their nervous system has the ability to work better and the potential for health and for healing and helping their body. And so certainly I purpose to reach all of the parents and universally be able to educate them about the benefits of chiropractic care. And wherever those children fit into that, we're going to enable their body to do the best that it can.
Yeah, Ed, those challenged children, which, autism's, depending on what statistics you look at, could be as low as 1 in 45 for boys, 10% of kids are diagnosed with ADHD. Those kids all need chiropractic care more than ever, but every child deserves the opportunity to be checked by a chiropractor, analyzed for subluxation, adjusted so they can have better life expression. So, we want every child to have the same advantage that your children have, our children have, all of the listeners' children and their patients' children have. So every child needs to be checked. And that's one of the things that we've been focused on in our practice for 25 years now, is that when a mom brings a child in as a new patient, we hear a lot about, you want to meet the parents where they're at, or some chiropractors do, bait and switch, where you come in for this and then you try to switch them over to subluxation correction. But we found the best practices and strategies that you can communicate to that parent on visit 1, so that they are already committing to lifetime subluxation correction wellness care. One of the most revolutionary things that we've done in our practice in the last 10 years was create the no report of findings, because we used to never adjust on the first visit. We were really adamant about that. Wanted them to come back, and we had to put this whole report of findings together. Now there's certain things that we do on the first visit that it makes the report of findings virtually obsolete, because using some sophisticated communication and languaging and a Socratic method, those parents now are committing their children to lifetime care, and they're paying for it, for subluxation correction right from the get-go. So, what we've learned in practice is the longer we're in practice, the simpler it gets. People want what we have to offer, and, most of us make it too complicated. And, they have reported finding rooms like Disney World and doing all of this, explanation and demonstrations. So, so being able to tell the truth, to be able to inspire the parents and share with them right from the get-go, and then it makes practice so easy.
So, one of the things that when I was starting out, especially, in those first few years, and I wanted to see families and kids, or Karen and I wanted to see families and kids, it was actually really uncomfortable for me. And to see someone like yourself, I always thought, well, it's the Warners. They're very, they have a great personality. It's personality based, but this isn't personality based. I mean, you have a system that you can teach other doctors to get success actually in a really short time span. So can you tell docs who are listening, a little bit about Chiropractic Pediatrics 365?
Yeah, we've been asked to do this for a long time. And, there's some very unique things about this program, about being the go-to health authority in your community, attracting 50 to 100 new children in your practice, enrolling them from day one in long-term care, subluxation correction care at a profitable fee, have a patient-driven practice where you grow it from the inside out, and you have fun in the practice. So, not only did we create the 12 building blocks so that every chiropractor can have this type of practice if they want to help more children, but we also have mastermind and accountability pods built in. So to make sure that everyone executes and implements, and we're there, we don't pawn it off on other coaches, and we're still in the trenches practicing. We're there with you to make sure that you're able to help as many families in your community, that you're able to have proper fee systems, communicate the value, and have the systems and procedures. So at Chiropractic Pediatrics 365.com, they can just dive in and get all of that information.
Very cool. So I'm going to actually drop that link. I hope I get this right. So listeners, you can actually head to thechiropracticphilanthropist.com, and we'll have a webpage dedicated to our discussion with the Warners today, as well as links to all of the resources, including chiropracticpediatrics365.com. So the link will be there. You can check that out, but we're also going to put that in the show notes. So if you're one of the 60% of people listening on your mobile right now, you can actually open up your show notes on the podcast. You'll see the link right there. You can directly go to the link and get connected. So before we actually kind of wrap up the call today, what I'd like to do is actually ask you for, something that you would actually emailed me before we even started the discussion today. And that is, one simple answer is probably to this question. I would think it's the simple answer is you say to keep it simple. Like in your practice, is it typical of chiropractors to want to overcomplicate things? Do we make it too hard?
I think for sure we make it too hard. I think, you just muck up everything. And sometimes the more you talk, the more you screw it up. So, I remember that when we graduated, someone asks you a simple little question, and all of a sudden you're droning on, and 20 minutes later, all they hear, it's like the Charlie Brown when the teacher is womp, 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 and they don't know what the heck you're talking about. Or Stuart used to say, like, hooking up a garden hose to sprinkle to the...
Take a sip of water from a fire hydrant.
Okay, say it loud.
Taking a sip of water from a fire hydrant.
So that's what it's like, that you're trying to bombard them with all this information. And so I think the simpler we keep it, the better. And so that goes for our systems in practice. It goes for our reports, our re-reports, our exams, our re-exams, everything that we do. If you can strategize it and learn strategies that streamline and keep it simple, it's easier on you, your staff, your patients. It's better for compliance and longevity. And it's just better all around. And it's easy. It's like taking off the coat to freedom, it eases things up.
Ed, you asked us on one of your earlier podcasts what one of our favorite quotes is. And I think one I mentioned on that interview from Ayn Rand really applies here, and that is unhappiness and struggle are enormously unimportant. And a lot of chiropractors that maybe went to schools and didn't learn how to help kids or how to have a wellness practice, or there's ones out there that are trying to do it but haven't gotten through to the forefront of their town, or aren't comfortable charging an appropriate fee. They struggle, and it's frustrating. And so that's all unnecessary, because the systems and procedures are here. There's other chiropractors, thousands of them doing it. And you just have to follow the plan that works and create the life that you want.
Yeah. And that's completely possible, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I can hear all of the pings and the notifications that you're getting, I'm getting. I know we're all busy, and I know the docs who are listening today are busy too, and they're downloading this and are really appreciating so much of so much you do for the profession, but so much you're doing also in just giving back. So I want to thank you so much for being on the show and bringing value today.
Oh, thanks, Ed.
It's our pleasure, and thanks for everything you're doing, because you're an innovator out there, and you're helping change people's lives and helping them live the life they deserve as well. So thank you for all you do.
So you've heard the struggles, you've heard the successes, and this episode is done. But there's still so much more to come and so much more to learn. Head on over to the chiropracticphilanthropist.com and sign up for our newsletter, where you'll receive free practice building tips and strategies, including how to market your practice with your very own podcast and so much more. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Chiropractic Philanthropist.